Ikaw na.
Okay na po. Okay na po ba, sir? Low.
Yes, okay na, okay na.
Sige po. Ang ganda nga po, ayun dyan, Vincent Cayetano. I-report ko po ay tungkol sa evolution of file system and data processing. Una po muna, what is a file system? A file system is a process that manages how and where data on a storage disk, typically a hard disk drive, is stored, accessed, and managed. It is a logical disk component that manages a disk's internal operation as it relates to a computer and is abstract to a human user. Why file system is important? The most important purpose of a file system is to manage user data. This includes storing, retrieving, and updating data. Some file systems accept data for storage or as a, as a stream of bytes which are collected and stored in a manner efficient for the media. Without a file system, data placed in a storage medium would be one large body of data with no way to learn, where one piece of data stop and the next began. So, ang file system po ay important dahil po sila po yung nagmamanage ng mga data sa computer natin. This was evolution of file system. The first file system data processing involved magnetic tapes. The original IBM computers had only tape drives, no disks. Individual data records were written to tape with inter-record gaps. The tape drive could write a record, read a record, skip forward or back one record. It also wrote and recognized end-of-file marks. Hollerith designed the punch card for data storage in 1888. He got the idea from Jacquard Bloom. He also invented machines used to punch the cards and count the holes. These cards were stored in boxes or in trays which were kept on shelves or in filing cabinets. In the 1950s and 60s, a number of different devices were used for storing computer data including paper tape, punch cards, magnetic tape, magnetic drums, wire, and disk drive. Jesse Pollard points out that the first commercially available hard drive with movable heads was developed by IBM in 1956-57. Until the late 60s or early 70s, the file system was just considered to be part of the operating system. It was the way you stored and accessed data in permanent storage. Then with the introduction of Unix, the file system became a separate entity that could be added or replaced without changing the operating system. Unix is an operating system. File allocation
Ayun,
table.
yung mga yan, yung sinasabi ni John Vincent, ano? I believe na pag-aralan nyo na yan sa CC100 at CC101. Doon nagkakamali, ano? Nagturo din ako ng CC100. So, noon pa man din, ano, meron ng file system. So, anong kinalaman ng file system? Ang goal natin ngayon, anong kinalaman ng file system sa data and information? No? Kung ano yung relevance nila. So, sinasabi dyan, ano, na ang data storage ay matagal na, ano? So, wala namang computer kung walang data storage. Kaya lang, nung araw, ginagamitan pa ng punch card. So, naabutan ko pa yun, ano? Pero hindi ako, yung nasa museum lang, nasa museum, ano? Hindi na gumagana. Hindi ko naabutang gamitin. Ano? Pero yung mga floppy disk. Sino sa inyo nakaabot ng floppy disk? Wala?
Wala po yata, sir.
Si Mia, naabutan mo ba yung floppy disk?
Oh.
Naabutan mo ba yung floppy disk?
Hindi ko pamilyar.
Ano ka na? USB flash drive.
USB po.
Ayan. Nahuhuli edad ko. Ano? So, ayan, So, naabutan ko pa yung floppy disk. So, para siyang USB, pero ang size lang niya is 5 MB. 5 MB lang ang pwedeng ilaman. Ngayon, ilan na ang flash drive ko yan? May terabyte na, di ba? Nung nagkaroon ako ng kauna-unahang flash drive ay 64 MB. Tuwan-tuwa na ako noon. Kasi maraming flash drive na yun. Equal na sa maraming flash drive yun. So, more than 10 floppy disk na yung 64 MB ko. That was 2005. Yung first ko. So, ang presyo pa noon, napakamahal. Samantala ngayon, gigabyte tapos 200 pesos. Okay? So, binabanggit lang dito yung history ng file system. It evolves from punch card to magnetic tapes, to magnetic drum. Actually, noong una, may paper tape pa. Kaya lang, hindi naging successful ang paper tape kasi masyado siyang vulnerable. Madaling masira. Then, ay naisip nila yung punch card. Then, nagka-idea sila sa punch card na pwede pala through magnetic tape. Kasi may composition ng punch card na nag-i-store ng data through magnetism. So, na-invent mo ngayon yung magnetic tape and eventually, it becomes magnetic drums. And then, yung hard disk na nga ngayon. Okay? So, next slide na, Mr. Wala reporter. Cayetano.
Dito po yung types of file system. First one is this file system has the ability to randomly address data within a few amounts of time. Also, it includes the anticipation that led to the speed of accessing data. Pangalawa is flash file system. It's responsible for restrictions, performance, and special abilities of flash memory. Number 3 is tape file. Tape file system is used to hold files on the tape as it is a tape format and file system. Number 4, database file system is another method for file management. Files are recognized by their characteristics rather than hierarchical structured management. Next is transactional file system. Some programs required one or more changes to fail for any reason or need several file system changes but do not make any changes. For instance, a program may write configuration files or libraries and executable at the time of installing or updating the software. Number 6 is
So,
network
ibig
file.
sabihin, that is just read-only. Ang ibig mo sabihin, yung transactional file system is just read-only.
Opo, sir.
Tama ba? Read-only lang yung transactional file system? Base
Opo.
sa explanation mo?
Opo.
Sige, tuloy mo.
Network file system offers access to files on a server in remote network connected computers. With the help of local interfaces, programs are able to transparently create, manage, and access hierarchical files and directories. Next is shared disk file system. allows the same external disk subsystem to be accessed by multiple machines. But when the number of machines accesses the same external disk subsystem, there may be occurred collision in this condition. So to prevent the collision, the file system decides which subsystem to be accessed. Next is minimal file system. In the 1970s, for some initial microcomputer users, disk and digital tape devices were much expensive. A few cheaper basic data storage system is common audio cassette tape was designed. Next is flat file system. The subdirectories are not available in the flat system. It contains the only directory and all files are held in a single directory. Dito naman po
Balik tayo doon, balik tayo doon. Balik tayo doon. But dapat pinagsulot-sulot mo ito according to kung kailan sila na-implement. So, ang una dyan is yung magkasabay yung tape sa minimal, sa flat. So, ito yung dapat ang ini 1, 2, 3 mo. But anyway, so tama naman yan yung mga examples niya. So, yung database file system, so, tatalakayin natin yan. Tapos, nabanggit na niyo yung transactional file system, ano? Yung network file system, di ba may subject kayong ITnet? Nagne-network ba kayo doon? Nang nagsishare kayo ng mga folder? Naranasan nyo na ba?
Opo.
Nagsishare kayo ng folder. Halimbawa, yung laptop ni Ma'am Melchin, ina-access ko siya sa laptop ko. So, naka-network. So, that is what we call network file system. So, it means, yung kanyang directory can be accessed with the same network as mine. Kasi pareho kami ng network, kaya ma-access ko siya. You know? Yung shared disk file system, that is a certain type of data storage that can be shared through network also. So, ang pagkakaiba ng network file system sa shared disk file system is that yung shared disk file system is standalone. It is another device, or meron siyang system inside. May built-in system siya. While the network file system, it is dependent on PC or user or the computer that shared the file. Like for instance, pinatay niya yung laptop niya, hindi ko na siya ma-access, hindi ko na siya makukuha. Then, ayun. So, yun lang siya. So, pinapakita lang dyan yung mga different file system. Anong kinalaman ng file system? Sige, tatanong ko na lang pala sa reporter yan. Hindi ko na i-explain. Sige, next, Sige, tanong ko nga sa'yo. Anong kinalaman ng file system dyan sa pinag-aaralan nating data and information?
Kaya po kailangan yung file system po dahil po kagaya pa nga po na sabi kanina doon sa may slide ito po doon. Sila po yung nagmamanage ng information. Siyempre kailangan po yung mga information na yon na maging maayos po para po ma-recognize ng computer o user po.
So, ayan So, kailangan natin ng file system to store the data, to manage the data, to share the data to the specified user. Okay? Thank you. Mr. Cayetano, next slide.
Yan po yung what is data processing. Data processing occurs when data is collected and translated into usable information. Data processing starts with data in its raw form and converts it into a more readable format like graphs and documents, giving it a form of context necessary to be interpreted by computers and utilized by employees throughout an organization.
O yan na nga yung magkakaroon ka ng knowledge sa DCAR. magkakaroon ka ng knowledge about the data and information. Then, so ang kasunod na niyan is action, and result. So, ang sinasabi diyan, magka-process muna ng data for us to arrive at certain action. Kasi we can interpret it, We can interpret it. Kahit computer din, kaya i-interpret yon, and then we can make necessary action for that. Okay? So, on data process, of course, ang pagka-process ng data, una sa pagka-gather, then parang IPO, input, process, output. IPO model, kung natatandaan ninyo. So, that must be an input para merong may process, and after the processing, there must be an output. Okay? O, next slide tayo.
Yan po is evolution of data processing. In the beginning, the invention of computers created a clear need for information and data processing. During these very early days, computer
Hindi
scientists...
lumilipat yung slide mo.
Po,
Hindi lumilipat yung slide mo. O talagang walang laman yan.
wala po.
Okay, sige.
The invention of computers created a clear need for information and data processing. During these very early days, computer scientists had to write custom programs for processing data, and these were most likely stored in a punch card. Dawn of big data. The era of big data began with the MapReduce paper, released by Google, that explains a simple model based on two primitives, map and reduce. These primitives allowed for parallel computation across a massive number of parallel machines. Obviously, parallel computations were possible even before the MapReduce era via multiple computers, supercomputers, and MPI systems. However, MapReduce made it available to a wider audience. Batch processing gets ramped up. The next step in big data saw the introduction of Apache Spark. Spark allowed additional parallelization and brought batch processing to the next level. As mentioned earlier, batch processing includes putting data into a storage system that you then schedule computations on. The main concept here is that your data sits somewhere while you periodically run computation to glean results based on past information. From big data to fast data, the advent of stream processing. This next step in the big data evolution saw the introduction of stream processing with Apache Storm being the first widely used framework. There were other research systems and frameworks at the same time, but Storm was the one to see increased adoption. This framework enabled programs to be written that could run continuously for 24/7, contrary to the batch processing approach where programs and applications have a beginning and an end. With stream processing, programs run continuously on data and produce outcomes in real time while the data is generated. Apache Flink. Stream processing becomes accessible. Around 2015, Apache Flink started becoming a prominent stream processing framework adopted by developers and data or analytic leaders. Apache Flink is a framework and distributed processing engine for stateful computations over unbounded and bounded data streams. Flink has been designed to run in all common cluster environments, perform computations at in-memory speed at any scale. Next is 6 stages of data processing. The first stage is data collection. Collecting data is the first step in data processing. Data is pulled from available sources including data lakes and data warehouse. Data preparation. Once the data is collected, it then enters the data preparation stage. Data preparation, often referred to as pre-processing, is the stage at which raw data is cleaned up and organized for the following stage of data processing. During preparation, raw data is diligently checked for any errors. Number three is data input. The clean data is then entered into its
O
destination.
sa laboratory, gagawin natin lahat yan, ano? Yung 6 stages of data processing. Kaya mas may elaborate natin yan. Don't worry, i-discuss ko naman sa inyo yan pag nag-SQL code kayo.
Okay po, okay po.
Data collection, paano mag-preparation, input, process, output, and we store the data. And actually, may additional pa doon is how to access the data and how to generate a result from the data, from the query. So, dito, kasi ang nasa example dito is for data processing in general, ano? Pero if we come to the specific term, kasama dun yung yung pag-access sa data. Of course, in-store mo yun eh. May output ka, ipasok mo sa data storage. So dapat meron ka pang ibang process doon. Ano yun? Pinaprocess din niya kung paano mo siya ma-access. Ganun na. Pero tama tong niya, pinagkunan niya. Tama naman dito. Wala naman problema dito. Okay? Next natin. In-explain ko nga pala, no? In-explain ko pa.
There's a data input, translated into language that it can understand. Data input is the first stage in which raw data begins to take the form of
Ay, Mr. Cayetano.
Yeah.
Mr. Cayetano, lakasan mo naman yung boses mo. Naantok kami.
Okay po, sir.
Lakasan mo naman. Para hindi kami antukin naman. Kasi yung panahon na to, nakakaantok. Alas stress na. Maya, tulog na yung mga classmate mo. Sige.
Alive pa po, alive pa.
Ako din po, inaantok mo eh. Hindi, joke lang. Number 4 po, processing. During this stage, the data inputted to the computer in the previous stage is actually processed for interpretation. Processing is done using machine learning algorithms, though the process itself may vary slightly depending on the source of data being processed. Number 5 is data output. The output or interpretation stage is the stage of which data is finally usable to non-data scientists. It is translated, readable, and often in the form of graphs, videos, images, or plain text. Last for data storage. The final stage of data processing is storage. After all the data is processed, it is then stored for future use, where some information may be put to use immediately. Much of it will serve a purpose later on. Lang po, sir.
Okay, do you have any questions to Mr. Cayetano? Guys? Do you have any questions? Nakinig ba kayo? Sige, bago ako magtanong sa'yo, magtanong ka muna sa mga classmates. Baka tulog na yung mga yan eh. Ready ka ng 3 tanong. Tapos magtawag ka.
Dadawa lang naka-ready ko.
Ha?
Dadalawa lang po.
Sige, magtanong ka.
Una po is what is file system?
asan na? Hindi ka na nagtanong.
What is file system po? Vince po. Vince.
Sir,
Ha?
What is file system?
ano?
Di ba napuputol ka pa o ano? Nawala ka na.
Do, sir.
Sige, sino ang tatanungin mo?
Si Vince po.
Sino ang lakasan mo? Si Vince. Sige,
Vince
si Vince.
po.
Sige, ano tanong mo kay Vince?
What is file
Sir.
system?
Sir, yung pagkakaintindi ko po base kay kay JB is yung file system po is para makontrol kung paano ini-store at nire-retrieve yung data sa operating system.
Yeah? Okay. So, satisfied ka ba sa sagot ni Vince Albert? Mr. Cayetano?
Opo.
Sige, laksan mo yung boses mo. Para...
Opo, sir.
Sige, tama naman yun. Thank you, Vince Albert. So, that is correct. Okay, next question.
Si Gerald Ganyo po.
Gerald.
Sir,
What are the stages of data processing?
Stages. Enumerate mo lang yun. Sige.
Ano po sir, data collection, data preparation, data input, processing, data output, saka po data storage.
Yun. Sige. Okay. Next question. Thank you, Gerald. Wala tayong nahuhuling natutulog, ano? Nakakasagot eh. Babae naman, tawagin mo ngayon. Puro lalaki tinatawag mo eh.
Ano po, sir? What is data
Sige.
processing?
What is data processing? Ang tanong mo? Sino ang
Opo.
sasagot dyan?
Di ba pwede dyan?
Si Krisha. Dahil black and white yung kanyang picture, siya ang sasagot.
Sir.
Sige. What is
Sir,
data
ito po
processing?
yung ano po, yung kung saan po pinaprocess po yung mga raw data po na pwedeng ma-convert po sa mga readable format.
Readable format at may save sa computer system. Okay? So, that's all. At hindi ko na matanong si baka hindi ko na maintindihan yung sagot niya. Mahina ang kanyang boses. So, mag-ano muna tayo? Mag-screenshot muna tayo ng attendance. Paki-open ng mga camera.